This is the His and Her Money Show, where we talk about managing money, marriage, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Talaat and Tai McNeely.
Yes, welcome back to another edition of the His and Her Money Show, brought to you by hisandhermoney.com. Today's topic is, I think, one that hits home for a lot of people, and that is the topic of identity theft. If you've ever been a victim of identity theft, you know it is an absolute nightmare.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And if you're fortunate enough to not have been hit by ID theft, then you should definitely tune in as well, because we're going to talk about some preventative measures that you can take in order to make sure that it never happens to you. And if you have been a victim, we're also going to talk about some ways and some steps that you can take to kind of alleviate yourself from those situations. And to help us out with this topic, we brought in an expert straight from one of the credit bureaus, Experience, and her name is Becky Frost, and she's from ExperienceProtectMyID.com. And she works on behalf of Experience to educate people on the topic of ID theft. So we had to call her up and get her on so that we can all learn more about this topic, because it's all on the news. It's everywhere you look.
That's right. And
this will help us to be better informed to make some proper measurements moving forward.
Well, you know what? It's so important that you get some pen, paper, and you definitely want to take notes, because nowadays with all of the large major companies, a lot of them have had major breaches within just the past few months. Major breaches where millions of people's identity information has been taken or stolen. So if it has not, like you said, touched your home yet, trust me, it'll be coming.
So let's get Becky on the line and see how she can help us all out.
All right.
Hey, Becky, welcome to the
Becky.
show.
Hey, guys, how are you? So happy to be here.
And we're so happy to have you on board, because we know that ID theft is huge. And it's happening all across the globe, not just the country, but across the globe.
That's
and
right.
People are lost and don't know what to do in case that it happens to them. And they don't know what to do as a preventative measure so that it doesn't happen to them. So we're just happy that you can come on the show today to help educate us on this topic. But before we get into your advice, can you give our audience a little background on yourself personally and professionally?
Sure. So I'm Becky Frost. I'm a consumer education manager. And what that means is that I share messages with the public, whether through the media, by talking on podcasts, things like this, about how people can protect themselves. And it's really important to protect themselves, to protect their identity. And we at Experian are very passionate about educating people so that they can, obviously people think about us, they think about finances and credit. And a lot of people don't know that we're also working diligently to protect people's identities.
What exactly is identity theft?
So identity theft is when someone besides yourself gets your identifying information, whether that's your social security number, personal information, address, first name, last name, whatever, and uses that to commit fraud for financial gain. And that can be not just opening new accounts in your name, it can be impersonating you to get a job. It can be a lot of different things, but a lot of people just don't even think about it because it can seem so scary, but it doesn't have to be.
Now, is it really a big deal? I mean, you hear about it on the news here and there, but I mean, for the everyday average person, is this something that they should be on alert about? Is it a big topic?
It is. It's actually been the leading complaint to the Federal Trade Commission for 15 years in a row, and it affects millions of people just here in the United States every single year. A lot of times people don't think about it. It's something you don't want to think about, but really if you take a few simple steps and change our daily routines just a little bit, we can reduce the chances of having identity theft happen to us.
Now, we've heard a new term called medical ID theft. What exactly is that all about?
So medical identity theft is a more specific type of identity theft. So we talked about how with identity theft, people are using any type of your personally identifiable information to commit this fraud against you. With medical identity theft, it's where someone uses your medical identifying information to obtain medical goods or services. So think about going to the doctor and finding out that you've had cosmetic surgery and owe a bill of $50,000 when in fact you haven't. This happens a lot of times to medical identity theft victims. Another thing that can be more life-threatening about medical identity theft is you get your records meshed with whoever committed the crime. We've heard of instances where people's blood types have been changed on their files, medications have been added that the patient doesn't need, etc. So it can really cause a lot of havoc.
So it sounds like the game has kind of expanded now. It's bigger than just somebody getting a hold of your credit card information. Now people are out here putting thousands of dollars of medical bills in other people's names too? Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the problems, but something that I didn't do before I learned about medical identity theft was I didn't check my explanation of benefits. So your insurer, every time you go in for a service associated with that number, is going to send you an explanation of benefits. And these forms often arrive from our insurers, and they're thick, and some people don't even open them up. But now I open mine religiously and look through them and make sure that, hey, is that a doctor's name that I recognize? Did I actually have this service? And that's a simple thing that people can do. It's just kind of a simple life hack that you can do on the medical identity theft front to make sure that you can spot fraud if it happens.
So, I mean, how exactly does this work? How do identity thieves get a hold of our personal information?
So identity thieves get a hold of our personal information by a multitude of ways, right? Identity theft is a crime of opportunity. So if you can think of it, I guarantee at least 10 identity thieves have already thought of it. We really leave multiple footprints, multiple identity footprints, both digitally and physically. So on the digital front these days, we leave footprints with our information on social media, and we leave information on our smartphones. So we need to be careful about how we protect this information. There's nothing wrong with using modern day technology and modern day conveniences, but we need to be aware of what risks would they pose and just take simple steps to protect ourselves. So on the social media front, I always advise people, there's nothing wrong with posting pictures of your cat or where you went to school, but make sure that those aren't the passwords that you use for access to your bank account or other sensitive accounts. A lot of times we try and protect ourselves or our accounts these days from takeover by having additional security questions, but then we may not think about, well, where are the answers to my security questions? Those questions are often, what is your pet's name? What was your first car? Where did you go to high school? What's your mother's maiden name? If you think about people's social network accounts, you could gather all of that information very easily from most profiles. So again, just if you're using those, if information is made public on social accounts, make sure that you don't have that as sensitive password information to access your financial accounts. Another thing on the digital side is to make sure to just password protect your phones, password protect your tablets. Think about all of the access and all of the apps you have on your devices these days, and they're great. They make life so convenient. But if you were to lose that device and you didn't have the Find My Phone feature enabled and you didn't have it password protected, imagine the panic you'd feel. Whereas if you had the ability, you knew your phone was password protected, so that could buy you some time, and you knew you had the ability to find it or to wipe it, that feature is really important so that if you do lose that personal directory to all of your financial information, really these days, you want to be able to wipe that easily if it's lost or stolen. So those are a few digital things. And just in the real world, it always surprises me and it never ceases to amaze me when I talk with people, the amount of people that have their social security card in their wallets. You want to get that card out of your wallet. There's really no reason to carry it around unless you have a government agency appointment or you have a new job where you need it. But really, that's just a day. So you want to take it out to protect yourself so you don't lose that important number. I've even talked to people on network television where the anchor has showed me that not only do they have their social security card in their wallet, but they have their kids' social security cards in their wallet. That can be a real problem if that was lost.
Yeah, and I remember being in the military, my ID card had my whole social security number on it, and I had to have it on me at all times. Since then, it's changed now to where they don't show the social security. They assign you a number now, but I remember that being a big deal, and there was even a breach not too long ago with the Veterans Affairs where all of our information was compromised. So it's amazing how all of this ID theft has completely changed the game and the way we go about things now.
That's right. And you mentioned another way that thieves get a hold of our information is through these breaches. We've heard in the last few years of mega data breaches that have happened. And these aren't new. They've been going on for more than a dozen years. But certainly the media attention around them and just the size of the data that's been lost or stolen, it's staggering. So we certainly should take steps to protect our data, but we aren't in control of where it is these days. So that's where really being smart and coming in and and monitoring your identity is also an essential piece to protecting yourself these days.
Definitely agree with that. How do these identity thieves turn around and use our own information against us?
So I'll go back to that breach example we were just talking about. Identity thieves can steal information and then they can use it personally to open new accounts. They can use it also to sell. So the dark web is a vast portion of the internet is actually made up of the dark web. And these are sites that you and I couldn't simply just visit, but it's where a lot of nefarious deals happen. And some of that includes the buying and selling of large batches of PII, of personally identifiable information. That can include social security numbers, credit card numbers, bank account numbers, you name it, and somewhere it is for sale. So that's why it's really important that I don't mean to sound like a commercial, but at Protect My ID, by Experian, we monitor the dark web and we alert our members so that if we see something that's been for sale, we can help put a stop to it. And we alert our members so they're aware of it. But thieves are enterprising. They'll use your data. They can, it's tax time. Some people have already filed. They use the data to file fraudulent tax returns. There's a number of things that thieves can do with personal data.
Wow, it feels like I'm in an episode of The Matrix or something. The dark web. I'm like, what?
I know. This is a part of my job that I love and hate, right? Because a lot of people don't know about it. But I'm not saying this to freak people out, because there are things we can do to protect ourselves. And that's the part of my job I really love. I don't like that I scare people, but then I love that I help empower people.
Well, we're going to tell you, we have been victims of identity theft. And
I am so sorry.
Several times.
Oh my gosh. It was frightening because we take extra measures to make sure, that our credit is good. And
absolutely.
And so we felt violated. I mean, someone even actually tried to do a tax return in my name. It was crazy. So now we are big advocates of identity theft monitoring systems. We absolutely love it. We're not saying it because you are on the show today.
Oh, bless your heart.
We love Protect My ID. We really, really do. And I'm going to tell you why. So with these major breaches that have been going on, more than likely, everybody's gotten some type of letter in the mail saying, hey, we think that your information has been compromised. We're going to set you up with this 1-year free service of monitoring your credit. And it so happened to be Protect My ID. So I signed up for it. At this particular time, we had, I don't know if we can mention well, it's our show.
It's our show.
Okay. So we were paying for a service with LifeLock because we were victims of identity theft. And I'm like, oh no, we worked too hard. We just might as well consider it an investment. Let's just go ahead and sign up for it. Didn't have any complaints per se with the other company. However, it wasn't until we signed up for free with the Protect My ID, and at the same time, we were also still being monitored with LifeLock. Mm-hmm. I cannot tell you, the customer service was phenomenal with Protect My ID.
So happy to hear that. That's one of the things that I hear, that personalized attention that you get with our products.
I felt safe.
Yes.
I felt secure. Someone contacted me right away and said, you know what, we think that your information has been compromised. And do you not know that I did not get an alert from LifeLock when someone tried doing an inquiry? But Protect My ID was the company that reached out to me and said, hey, we think your information is being compromised here. We're going to get on this right away.
I'm glad that alert worked.
Oh, it
for
did.
you.
It really did. And I told my husband, I said, you know what? After this year is up, I have a good feeling that we're going to be signing up with Protect My ID because we stand by the company that they have done exactly what they said that they will do.
And that I love that I'm sorry that you had the experience of identity theft, but I love that you had that great experience with our people. I mean, that's one thing. There are a lot of different credit and identity monitoring products out there these days, but something that makes Protect My ID stand head and shoulders above the rest is our people, our dedicated fraud resolution agents, certainly being part of Experian, being part of one of the nation's largest credit bureaus and being able to monitor your information and then alert you quickly to it and then respond, and not respond just with an automatic email and some online forum. I mean, we have all that information too. We've got a blog, a website, tons of information, but our people make the difference. And I love hearing that you had a great experience
really
like that.
I'm going to be honest. I have never heard of Protect My ID, and I was in the banking field. I knew that the credit bureaus had like monitor service, but I never knew the name, because I was not the type of person that wanted to pay money for my credit to be monitored until I became a victim. Right. So now I'm very proactive. I'm telling people, you definitely want to set this up. and protect my ID. You're absolutely right. The other services, they may send emails, but that phone call, they were pleasant. They were, oh my gosh, they even helped me when I had to fill out the report for at the police department.
Yes.
And then followed up with a phone call. I was like, okay, I'm sold.
Well, and that's actually a great tip for your listeners as well, is if they have identity theft happen to them, a lot of people don't know where to start. So being able to call in and have that personalized agent there who keeps calm, and this is what they do. So they know, okay, this is how we're going to respond. One of the tips that your listeners might not know is that when you do have identity theft happen, you need to file an identity theft police report. And it sounds a little scary at first, but it's actually, the experience isn't as daunting as it sounds. And that establishes the time frame of when it happened. And that also helps all of your creditors, your financial institutions. It helps them have that official report filed. A lot of people know that they need to contact the credit bureaus if identity theft happens. They don't know that they should also file that identity theft police report. Right. So that's something that can save them time.
I think when it comes to ID theft, ignorance is bliss. Like Ty just said, we weren't really worried about any type of monitoring service until it hit us.
Because we would monitor our credit through annualcreditreport.com.
Excellent.
We get a credit report every quarter.
Yes.
And, to spread it out throughout the year. So we were doing that at no extra charge,
Yes.
And because we're big on saving our listeners money.
Absolutely.
And so if there's a way that it can be done where you can do the monitoring for free, by all means do it. However, there are some things that you must pay for in life, people. And I will tell you, credit monitoring service is one of them.
And I like to say that it's great that people use and pull their credit reports for free through annualcreditreport.com. But as far as if you want to be, a thief can do a lot of damage. If you pull it once a quarter, there's a lot that could happen in between the times that you pull your report. So that's the difference. One of the differences with having a product that's monitoring every day for you and alerting you to key changes. That's something that you cannot do entirely on your own. And so, and I do want to educate people and help them do as much as they can. So even people who may not be able to sign up, they can still go to protectmyd.com. We've got a blog that has more than 5 years worth of content of articles and tips and, just articles to help people help themselves as well. So whether it's through our product, whether they purchase on a monthly basis, a yearly basis, which has a little bit of a discount. If they purchase through the Auto Club and get a discount, there are multiple ways to engage with the product. And for people who, no matter what you say, they'll never sign up, we still have a wealth of information so that they can become more aware and take steps to protect themselves.
So how can somebody figure out if their identity has in fact been stolen?
There are a number of warning signs. One of them being, of course, you go to use your card and it no longer works. That's obviously one of the most desperate situations that identity victims have. At this time of year, people are filing tax returns and being told that there's already a tax return that's been filed in their name. Oftentimes, it's after the fact that you'll learn that identity theft has happened to you. You learn that a mortgage has been filed in your name or a credit inquiry has been made. And that inquiry is actually more if you have a service and you're alerted to it. But a lot of times it unfortunately happens at the point of transaction. I hate hearing stories about how people are applying for a college loan or a home loan only to learn that their credit's been wrecked by an identity thief.
So if someone finds out that they are a victim of identity theft, what should they do?
So they should take immediate steps to stop the damage. And by that, I mean report to the main credit reporting agencies, the 3 bureaus. They should also file that identity theft police report. And of course, if any of their cards or accounts have been affected, they need to notify all of their financial accounts and also notify their medical accounts. We had a woman who had lost her wallet and someone had found it. And unfortunately, it was someone who chose to commit fraud with all of her credit cards and try and open new accounts because she did have her social security number in her wallet. And one thing she didn't think about when all of that was taken care of, she got a collection notice from her library. Her library card had been used to check out a lot of DVDs And, DVDs come with steeper fines at libraries for never being returned. And so she had hundreds of dollars in library fees that had just gone to collections. So really, if you have identity theft happen to you through a lost wallet, make sure that you know what's in your wallet. So something you can do beforehand is take a wallet inventory, like make copies of what's in your wallet and keep it in a safe or a locked file cabinet at home. So if that were ever lost, you could have an easy way to remember all of the cards that were lost or stolen, and you can nip it in the bud.
Yeah, and that's something that we do. We make a copy of the front and back, put it in the
really
file, because when things like that happen, you're frazzled, you're nervous, you can't even sometimes even think straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Let alone remember every single card that was in your wallet, but I never thought about the library card. Wow.
Yeah. I've learned a lot of things in the last 5 years being with Protect My ID since we launched. But, the stories you hear, but it's so rewarding along the way, because as you hear that, you think, well, yeah, we've always thought about credit cards, but you're right, we should keep a wallet inventory. And we actually did several blog posts about the importance of wallet inventories and other things that, people can do to protect themselves. But certainly if it happens to you, and sometimes victims are embarrassed that they've fallen victim to identity theft, if it's been through like a phishing scam where they clicked on a link in an email and then their information was compromised. So one of the things is to just stop and recenter. Many people feel that they've been violated, that they've been a victim of a violent crime, like a mugging. And so take a moment, just collect yourself and realize that you will get through it. And the great thing about Protect My ID is you don't have to go through it alone. We've got our fraud resolution agents that walk you through from start to finish. But even if you are dealing with it, there are resources, like our blog, that can help you learn what steps you need to take. So just making sure that you arm yourself with information and then just document everything, all of the calls you make, who you speak with, and something to save your listeners time. If they know that they've been a victim of fraud, if they're calling their financial services, if they're calling their credit card holders or their banks, anything like that, they ask for the fraud department. A lot of times when something bad happens to us, we feel like we have to tell the story to everyone, but you can save yourself a lot of time by when you call in and you reach that first person, tell them that you've been a victim of fraud and you need to speak to the fraud department. It will save you a lot of time in the process.
You kind of touched on it when you talked about doing a wallet inventory. So for somebody who's not necessarily a victim of ID theft, what are some preventative measures they can take to kind of avoid becoming one?
Yes, you're right. So that wallet inventory is an important part of it. The other thing is just the fact that people are thinking about that identity theft could happen is a step in the right direction. So many people, and I've seen the numbers change even in the last 5 years, but still there are a majority of people feel that identity theft will never happen to them. In the last few years, we've seen that statistic go from like 72% down to the low 50% of respondents in our surveys, because people are more aware of identity theft because of these large breaches. But still, that's a lot of people that don't think about it. So just being aware that it's out there changes how you act. It may change when you're sitting in line at the local coffee shop. It may change your behavior from getting on your smartphone, using public Wi-Fi to make purchases and share that sensitive financial, your credit card information. It may stop you from doing that. And that's a good thing. And so just, changing everyday little behaviors where you use a secure Wi-Fi connection to make purchases, where if someone calls you and says that they need your credit card information immediately, right now there's a scam going on where someone calls, says they're from the IRS and they're coming to arrest you, which doesn't even make sense. But that's what the scam is designed to throw you off kilter. And they say that they need your credit card information because you owe back taxes and they're going to issue a warrant for your arrest that night. It's just designed to get your information. I have calls like that have happened to me, and even myself, the initial gut reaction is what's going on. So knowing that those fraudsters are out there makes you stop long enough to not give out that information. And other things are, obviously not clicking on unsolicited email links especially if it purports to be from a financial institution. The IRS confirms every year that they'll never email people and ask them for that kind of information. Certainly not responding to phone calls where they're asking for that type of information. And then just, some good old-fashioned ways as well. Make sure you have a shredder, and that you're not just throwing out statements that have your personal information. And then just being on the digital side, being social media savvy and not oversharing.
Yeah, and another big thing and a big way that a lot of identity thieves get information is through the mail system.
Yes.
I mean, that's why we try to do paperless statements, especially with our bank accounts and any type of financial accounts. I mean, people are stealing mail.
They are. And, it's so important to have a locking mailbox. And if you are going on vacation and the mail is going to pile up, to put a stop at your post office so that you don't have mail piling up, even if it is in a locked mailbox. If you can't get it every day, have the post office delay shipment.
Well, okay, Becky. Well, can you explain Protect My ID and how it works, and also how people can sign up?
Sure. Protect My ID was launched by Experian as identity monitoring product back in 2009. And companies work with us if they've had a data breach. Some companies choose like your situation. And then you can also go online and learn more about Protect My ID at www.protectmyid.com. We provide credit monitoring, and who better than Experian to be pros at credit monitoring, right? And then we also provide identity monitoring, where we monitor the dark web for signs of your personal information being for sale, whether it's your credit card numbers, your social security numbers, and we alert you to that. We have excellent fraud resolution. They're actually award-winning. Our team is an award-winning fraud resolution team that's there to help you if you do have fraud happen to you. And we have alerts that even our members love the all clear alerts. So if nothing's going on, you'll get a monthly alert that says, just letting you know there's been no activity detected this month. That just peace of mind. So, again, people can learn more at protectmyid.com, but it's really a great product. It provides that peace of mind that people need these days, especially since we no longer control who has all of our data or where it is. We can at least take steps to protect ourselves and also learn a lot about identity theft and protecting yourself.
Now, if someone is a victim of identity theft, does Protect My ID type of a guarantee that if they can't resolve it? I know some of the other companies do.
You're right.
A built-in insurance.
Yes, and I'm so glad you asked that. We do have the $1 million identity theft insurance policy as well that every single member gets as part of Protect My ID, and they can learn more on the website about everything that entails. We also have a partnership so that we monitor for change of address. One way that thieves try and commit identity theft and not let you know is they'll open new accounts, but then they'll change your address. And so all of the bills, you won't receive them. They'll go to this fake site. And so if a national change of address or just a change of address is initiated, we let our members know so that you can confirm that, yeah, I did just move, I did initiate that. Or we can investigate. You can investigate if you get that and you haven't made that change.
Awesome. Becky Frost from ProtectMyID.com. Thanks so much for coming on the show, sharing your advice and wisdom with our audience.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm happy to be here, and thank you for your time tonight.
There you have it. Everything that you need to know in order to be better equipped to handle identity theft and to protect yourself from it.
Like we said, we have been victims of identity theft. Someone tried taking our tax returner. Tried applying for a tax return in our name, and now we are big advocates of getting some type of credit monitoring service. Protect My ID is definitely a great company that we enjoy being with, and we're not being paid by them. We're not even getting the services through them right now for free, but we were originally set up through a company that our identity was taken through, and I must say I'm very pleased with their customer service. So if you guys have not checked into Protect My ID or any other company, you definitely want to look into it quickly.
I think it's amazing that it has grown so much to where it's not just about your credit card getting stolen. Right. We talked about medical bills, library cards. The
library
people
card.
are just taking your ID left and right. And in 2015, people, we have to be protected.
Cell phones, people have cell phone bills, bank accounts in other people's names. Oh my gosh, the half of it hasn't even been told.
So don't sleep on this. This is a touchy topic. Take it from two victims of ID theft. It's nothing to play with, and it's not enjoyable whatsoever. So, hey, do what you got to do, people. Get protected. Put some measures in place to protect yourself from ID theft.
And it's a little bit of peace of mind, believe it or not. It really is. It's peace of mind, and sometimes that's worth paying for.
Well, that does it for this episode of the His and Her Money Show.
Don't forget to visit us over at our website at hisandhermoney.com.
Here it is. No matter where you are on the road to financial freedom, the key is to start now
and finish strong.
Thanks for tuning in to the His and Her Money Show. For more information on how to win with your finances, be sure to visit www.hisandhermoney.com.